In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
how will I ever do this on my own?
She thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. This is Rosa and Richard. We're here with Robert Ball, and he's going to talk to us about his business, Naked Greens, and other gardening efforts that he has here in Kentucky.
Yeah. So, my name's Rob, and I'm a farmer here in Louisville, Kentucky on the East End in Middletown. And I'm currently growing about 1.5 acres of produce in a intensive agricultural system, also a no-till system. And I'm selling everything from greens, which is my main focus. The name of my company is Naked Greens, and I grow tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, potatoes, okra. So I have a pretty broad range of crops on a small amount of acres, and the beds flip really quickly, and I can get a lot of crops in one season.
Yeah, that actually strikes me as interesting. When I hear farm, I don't normally think of 1.5 acres.
It seems small, yeah.
Usually that's like what somebody's yard is. But
yeah, it's pretty small.
And you're the only person working this?
The only person currently working it, yes.
Without a till?
Without a till.
Okay.
So
how does that work? You just lay the seeds on top of the ground and hope they take, or what?
So how this works is it tries to replicate what would happen in a forest system. Mm-hmm. And instead of turning the ground over, you just add more compost on top of what was planted before, and then you plant into that. So what happens is you're adding about 1 inch or so of compost every time, mm-hmm. and then by the end of the season you have maybe 2.5, 3 inches of a raised bed, because you've rotated through so many crops in the same bed. And my beds, they don't move, they don't change. They're what's called an ever bed. So once you have it formed, it never changes. You don't ever flatten it out.
So in a couple of decades, you'll have a compost mountain then.
Yeah, and that'll be real hard to plant. We might have to smooth it out at that point.
It'd be like those people carrying the rocks up to the top of the hill in that Hugh Grant movie or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Because they wanted to have the tallest mountain.
Missed that one.
Oh my gosh, he's not seen any British movies. We're gonna have to have a movie night. Anyway, so this is really interesting that you're doing this all by yourself, but you've made it into quite a business as far as you're growing all these different kind of crops, and you have a co-op of people who buy from you, correct? Mm-hmm. How does that work?
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it a co-op, but
what's it called? A CSA?
CSA, yeah, CSA.
Which stands for
Community Supported Agriculture.
That's right.
And that is, people sign up at the beginning of the year. I guess it is somewhat similar to a co-op. And they're paying into my farming system. They're helping me buy things in the beginning of the season, such as seeds, maybe some minor equipment that I might need to purchase, certain fertilizers. And in return, they get a weekly share for 25 weeks, a box of produce of whatever I produce that week. So last week's there was 7 items. It was kohlrabi, broccoli, collards, kale, and lettuce, and a couple others that I can't quite
I
place.
got mushrooms from you the other day.
Yeah, I grew mushrooms this season, and they turned out really well.
I thought so too.
Yeah, everybody
I ate that
seemed
whole bag
to really
in one
like
sitting.
them.
I did share it with a couple people though.
Yeah, everybody seemed to really like those,
Mm-hmm.
and those were a good crop because they didn't take up any space in the field, and I just inoculated all the landscaping in around the driveway, and so it made everything look nice, kept the weeds down, and flowers came up through it, so everything was growing together.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Now, what was that other thing you said? Kohlrabi?
Kohlrabi.
What's that?
German turnip is another
Oh, are
name
those
for
those
it.
big turnips that you had at the market?
Yeah, they're these.
Oh,
Mine
yeah.
were purple, but they also
Mhm.
some are green, some are white. They're similar in texture to a turnip, maybe a bit more juicy inside. Kind of a blandish flavor, really.
Okay.
But
You ever make turnip fries with them?
I have not made fries with them, but I've roasted them and I've eaten them fresh, which is what I mostly do.
Okay.
And just dip them in something and snack on them.
So, how much of what you grow would you say goes into the produce boxes versus how much of what you grow makes it to farmers markets?
So percentage-wise, I would say probably in the ballpark of 10 to 15% goes to the CSA. Maybe
wow.
a little bit higher. I only have 10 members right now that have signed up, so it's relatively small. And 1.5 acres is, that's, in terms of produce, that's probably enough to support at least 20 people.
Were you
throughout
open
the
to
season.
taking 20 or?
I was open to taking 15. I was being a little conservative this year. I did not meet that, but
Okay.
we'll grow on that. Yeah, I think I could do about 20, and then we'll see from there. I'm sure 1.5 acres isn't what I'm gonna stick with forever if I'm gonna grow.
And then you also have a special project that you're helping the community with. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. So Moore High School, which is over in the Highview area of Louisville, South End, and we are working on a community garden there. They had some greenhouses that were fenced in. Those were built about 4 years ago, and they had kind of been left to waste, essentially, that some of the greenhouses the plastic had ripped and the weeds were overrun. And
And was that largely because of the whole school shutting down for COVID? Or?
no, it was
This was
just
before COVID, right?
yeah.
Like 3
So it
years
was
ago.
constructed 4 years ago, and they did a little bit with it, as I understand, and then nothing ever continued. I think the teacher that had kind of formulated the whole thing retired, and nobody really picked it back up after
Yeah. You need somebody who is willing to
that. Yeah.
do the work consistently.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, especially at the garden. So we've started that. We've cleared all the weeds. We've got the beds formed, and we've added compost, and we've planted seeds, and now we've got tomatoes growing over there. We've got gourds, sunflowers, okra,
Nice.
spinach, lettuce, arugula.
How do you decide what to plant there?
So the environmental science teacher and I kind of formulated a 3-year rotation plan. So it's really important that you rotate your crops in order to prevent disease. So
Is that because they take different nutrients out of the soil?
that's part of it, definitely. And then the other part is that if you plant the same crop in the same place every year, the pests and like fungus and any kind of like disease that might be in the soil, it's going to proliferate.
Oh, okay.
Because they have the same food source every single year.
Okay.
Right where they came, dropped all their eggs, and then came right up out of the soil in the same place. So
Wow.
we've got a 3-year rotation system, and it's the garden plot's not very big. It's not much, as far as the floor plan goes, it's probably not much bigger than like a standard suburban first floor home. So we have to be really particular on how many, like, we can't plant more beds of this crop than we'll be able to rotate out, because there can't be any overlap. So
And then have you had students helping you work in it?
yeah,
What's the name of the program? Or
name of the program is,
I feel like you texted it to me the other day.
yeah, I
Do I
did.
need to check my text messages?
It is
You don't advertise.
Culinary Gardens.
That's it, Culinary Gardens. And is that named after your friend who's a chef?
Yes.
He has something else called culinary something?
Culinary Creations. He's a
Okay.
caterer for weddings and other events.
Okay.
Garrett Sanborn is his name.
All
And so at Moore, we're working with the culinary program and the environmental science middle school program.
Okay. So does he teach the culinary program?
Yes, he's also
Okay.
the professor there at the
Oh,
culinary
sweet.
program. Yeah. And
So you've got two
So you-
teachers and their students that you partner with?
yes.
So does that mean that you guys have grown crops at the school that they've used in teaching kids how to cook?
Yes. At this point, it's mostly been salad greens, spinach, arugula, lettuce, and
They teach them how to roast sunflower seeds?
oh, that would be a tough one. That'd be fun having them harvest all those.
Yeah.
The birds don't get to them first.
Oh.
But yes, that's the idea, is for them to use them in their culinary program, and if they have extra, sell them somehow. We haven't quite figured that out yet. And then that money goes back into their garden program.
That's so cool.
Sounds like you're still getting the ball fully rolling on it, but at least it's moving now, right?
Yeah, it's moving. We got tomatoes in there too. They're taking off, and all kinds of good carrots now. I mean, it's full. Everything's planted. So just a matter of keeping it going at this point, keeping the weeds down.
Man, who knows? Maybe 5-10 years from now, those kids at Moore will be eating really good in the cafeteria.
Yeah, let's hope so.
We're like, we have the freshest cafeteria food ever.
Yeah.
Nate. All right. So how did you get started in all this? Did you grow up on a farm? Like, is this what your parents did?
No, my parents did not. They're both engineers. But we did grow up on a 10-acre plot of land. My dad kept a couple of beehives growing up. That was something that he did, kind of hobby-wise.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool, yeah. Before everybody was doing it.
Your dad's like the OG hipster.
Yeah,
How many times you get stung growing up?
a lot.
Oh.
Most of it was just because I was walking barefoot, though. It was my own doing.
And you didn't learn, so.
Yeah. Well, I like to walk barefoot. You just gotta
Okay.
watch.
Oh,
Watch
he
what
learned
you're doing.
something.
He learned to
Yeah,
watch, but
watch,
not to wear
yeah.
shoes. He's like, it's Kentucky. Why would I wear shoes?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm from
trying to
Tennessee.
Toughen my feet up.
They're always like, what, they don't wear shoes down there, do you? I was like, look down at your own self. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so your parents were engineers and your dad had bees. So how did you get into gardening?
Gardening was also something my dad kind of got me into. We kept a garden, not every year, but off and on. And we had a pretty serious garden my 8th grade, freshman, and sophomore year.
Did you
And,
take stuff to the state fair or anything? Or
yeah, not anything from the garden. But once, a couple years later, when a friend of mine and I started getting chickens, we had entered about 12 birds into the state fair. Yeah.
As what? Chicken beauty pageant or what?
Yes.
Are you
essentially.
serious?
Yeah.
Did they wear bow ties?
No.
Oh, that would have been so cute.
No. They just judge them based on how close they are to the breed standard.
Okay.
And the breed standard is whatever some highbrow person comes up with.
Yeah. Like dog shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
you
did get
got
a blue
started
ribbon
in
on
high
one of
school
ours.
with raising chickens.
But then what was the serious part of your garden like?
The serious part of my garden.
Yeah. You said you had like this serious garden.
Oh, well, it was something that because my dad had done a garden before in the past, but it was just very small, and it was more for him than anything.
Like you just grew tomatoes and a couple other things or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And then when I got older, we grew a much bigger garden with potatoes and sweet corn and tomatoes, peppers, squash.
Okay.
And it was...
You had like a whole rainbow going on in there.
Yeah, it was
Alright.
a big size and something that I could actually go out and work in every day.
Not just sit and leave it for a week or
Yeah,
two at
it
a
wasn't
time.
just one or two plants that you could just kind of forget about from time to time. It needed a little bit of work every day.
And aside from training with your dad, you've had other training and growing in this, right?
Yes. So once I graduated high school, I went to the University of Kentucky, and I got my degree in animal science, minor in plant and soil science. And shortly after that, I started working on some farms. I worked for UK for a while. I worked at some of their research farms, and then also worked at their horticulture farm, which they run their own CSA for employees and students.
Okay. So you got some experience with that
Yeah,
at a
kinda-
larger program.
Yeah, first time seeing that this was a thing that existed. Yeah, this is what some people
Now,
do.
I also happen to know that Kentucky's not the only place that you've done some meaningful work with farming, is it?
It's not?
Our audience, you'll be surprised to hear the next place that I'm expecting you to talk about.
What could it be?
Yes. So after I worked on some farms here in Kentucky, in central Kentucky, I had applied a year, pretty much right after I graduated, I had applied to United States Peace Corps and been accepted, and I was accepted in July, and then that September I left for Senegal, West Africa, to be a sustainable agriculture volunteer.
This man blessed the rain down in Africa.
Oh my gosh. So that seems like a really random place to go. Like, did you pick the location or did you just apply in general and they assigned you to this spot?
I told them I would go anywhere,
Okay.
and that's where they assigned me.
Wow.
I don't know how particular they are. Like, if you ask to go somewhere, they may or may not send you there. At least that's how it used to be. I didn't really have any specific abroad skills. Like, if you were to say that you spoke Spanish already, they'll probably send you to Mexico or South America, I would suspect. But I didn't speak that at the time, so...
But it was a 2-year commitment. Did you get to go on sabbatical back home for a little while, 2 weeks out of the year or something? Or were you there for 2 straight years?
I did not go home in my time I was there.
Wow.
I took a vacation to Spain with my parents. My dad came and saw me for a week, and then we met my mom in Spain.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, cheap tickets from West Africa.
It's a lot closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also took a 2-week vacation in Tanzania
Okay.
when I was
Nice.
there. And that was East Africa. And then after that, after I was done, I did a little more traveling and then headed home.
So what did you work with over there to create sustainable agriculture? Had that already been started, or were you starting from scratch, or?
Not entirely from scratch. They had experience with volunteers before and worked with the Peace Corps before. I was in a pretty remote area. There wasn't electricity or running water, so we pulled from the well, and I had a small solar panel that worked for about 6 months, and then after that I just had to go into town and charge my little brick phone.
Oh.
But for what I did, it was extending crop seeds, so corn, beans, sorghum, stuff that they've grown there for a long time. and teaching certain gardening techniques, such as double digging or adding compost or planting at proper spacing. Contour planting was something I tried to really harp on while I was there.
What's contour planting?
So if the hill is going north to south, in terms of its slope, you want to try to plant east to west as opposed to north to south in order to prevent as much erosion as possible.
Okay.
And cultivate as well.
Like you would see with rice paddies.
So you were building compost mountains down there too.
Oh.
I built one for myself. That was a tough one to get them to pick up. But yeah, I had a pretty good compost going there.
Did you have a translator?
No, I learned the language. So we did have
They just
training.
throw you in there with people that you couldn't communicate with and be like, okay, here's your no service area, no water, no electricity, and you can't speak to anybody. Good luck.
No, not entirely. Sort of, but not entirely.
Oh my goodness.
We do have 9 weeks of training, but what that is we do have some training at their facility there, but they also send us out for weeks at a time in a host family situation.
Okay.
And we live with the host family, and then we meet up with a teacher every day in this little town. And we have like a language class.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, for a couple hours, maybe a few hours a day.
Yeah.
And then we go back to our host family, or we wander around town, or whatever we want to do, I guess.
Immersion method.
Immersion, yeah. That's kind of the way they want to do it.
Yeah.
So
It's
2
been-
years in Senegal, no running water, no electricity, other than batteries charging up phones, trying to teach some people who sound like they were kind of stubborn sometimes how to
Could be.
how to change their entire farming way of life to make it a little more effective and a little more sustainable. That ends and you come straight back to Louisville?
No. So, well, I did, because I didn't have anywhere else to stay. But shortly thereafter, I got a job in Warsaw, Kentucky with some friends of mine from college. They have their own farm. And they grow tomatoes, watermelons, tobacco. Hemp was something that they were getting big on when I came on. And they also keep cattle.
Didn't you go to Colorado too?
That was after.
That was after
Yeah.
Warsaw?
So
Oh, okay.
Warsaw, I was kind of like, I was their hemp research analyst. And I kept track of all the data for their hemp. Anything that we, kind of the three of us, they're my age. So we just kind of got together and said, this is what we think is relevant.
This is our measurable data.
Yeah, this is what is worth our time to measure and look at and put together a report at the end of the year and record our findings.
Cool.
And then I also learned Spanish there, so I was a translator for a lot of instances when I needed to be.
Nice.
And then after that, I went to Colorado, and that was where I worked with a buddy of mine, and we had our own plot of hemp, no more than like a half acre, very small, and also worked with a couple hemp companies, and I worked on a flower farm for a short
Now,
period.
being out in Colorado, were you raising some other stuff too? Or
Yeah, we were growing weed as well. I think we had 12 plants in the backyard.
Because you could sell them to the companies that you were selling the hemp to, or
The weed?
Yeah,
No, it was
no?
for personal use.
Oh, okay. Is that how that works?
Yeah,
Was that the law there?
that's
or
the law.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
yeah
Um,
that's
Sorry,
the law.
we
You
haven't
can
been to
have-
Colorado since before that was a thing.
It's 12. When I was there, it was 12 plants per household. It used to be 12 plants per household, per person per household.
Oh my!
Yeah.
They cut back on it.
Yeah.
You start getting some really crowded houses.
Apparently that was too much. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
They think they could just rein it in like that.
I guess.
Okay. Good luck.
So you finish up out there.
Wait, what were you saying about flowers?
I worked on a flower farm for a short time
Was that at the same
in
time?
Colorado. No, well, sort of. I worked there.
Was it a poppy farm?
No,
I'm just kidding.
they did grow poppies.
They did grow poppies.
They did grow poppies, but
oh dear. You're like, forget this. I can only have 12 plants. I want all the poppies. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
I left there.
So is this for like floral arrangements?
Mm-hmm,
okay.
Bouquets and cut
nice.
flowers.
So did you learn how to do floral arrangements and make them real pretty?
No, I didn't stay there long enough. It was a very short stint in the spring that I worked there. And then I went to work for the hemp farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then after that, came back here to Louisville, and that's when I started Naked Greens.
All right. So what gave you the idea to just go out on your own and do this now?
I've been wanting to do it for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Just have to get your nerve up to do it on your own?
Yeah, I finally felt that I was ready. I think I had learned enough about what I didn't want to do and what I did want to do, and I'd known I wanted to farm for a long time. I wanted my own farm. I wanted my own business. So I just reached out to some people that, such as my parents with the land over here, and they approved it, and
nice.
We got all the paperwork together that we needed, and I opened up the LLC.
And when did the LLC start?
January of 2020.
All right. Right before the pandemic.
Right before.
Fun time to start a business, right?
Yeah.
Good time to grow your own food, though.
Good time to grow your own food. Yeah. So that was tough. Thankfully now the restaurants are opening back up, and they're really taking on some of my produce. It's going to make a big difference this year, I think.
The Culinary Creations use it, or?
They might. I've talked to Garrett. He's got a wedding coming up, and I think I'm going to help him bartend there. Okay. And he's going to use some of my stuff and hopefully just
collaborate.
Throw my name out there. And it's like, just put my lettuce in the salad for the wedding and just let people know that the bartender grew it. That sort of thing.
That's really great.
Put a label on there.
So speaking of which, I'm gonna press you a little bit here. Why? Let me have you have your own sales pitch on why bother with farm to table. Why bother with the level of freshness that you provide, as opposed to just like, a bag of salad from the Food Lion or the
Kroger
or Walmart.
Do they even have Food Lion up here?
I don't know.
I don't even know.
Sorry, it's a Tennessee thing. Y'all might not understand.
I've never heard of that one.
It's like I was talking about Crystal Burgers.
Sorry, Save a Lot. Why am I not just buying some iceberg lettuce at Save a Lot?
They have those here? Okay, I'm sorry.
We do.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. I wasn't sure if I was just having flashbacks. Okay.
So my stuff's going to be a lot fresher than anything you're going to get at the grocery store.
Is it certified organic?
I'm not certified organic. I use all organic principles. I use a term called ecoganic, and that is a combination of the ecosystem that already exists and how the gardening can complement that, and how the ecosystem can complement the garden. Yeah. How they're working together. But my produce, so for example, my salad greens, I've had people tell me that they will keep up to 4 weeks in their fridge. Obviously, these are people that are buying it and not eating it. But
yeah. He's looking at me like, next time you feel like being healthy, you better be getting his lettuce.
That's more because she feels a lot more responsible about her health when she's buying than when she's eating.
It's true. I feel healthier just buying the stuff, and then I'm looking in the fridge and I'm like, but it's right next to the cheese, though.
Yeah. Well, that and just the fact that fresh produce takes some work to cook and to prepare and to get it ready. Those frozen bags of whatever, they don't take much work.
No.
Throw it in the microwave. But
that's amazing if it keeps for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I can justify buying a lot of your produce at the farmer's market now.
The other thing is the a location, the fact that it's coming from just down the road, we saw a lot of issues with distribution and logistics this past year.
That's true.
And we still are. I still am. With seeds that I order and things getting... I had a package of seeds get rerouted the other day, just unknowingly. I don't know why. It took like 2 weeks for them to get here.
Man.
It wasn't a box any bigger than like a VCR, if anybody remembers what those are.
Oh yeah, I used to clean our VCR.
Yeah.
Okay, like with a little brush thing. Do you ever do that?
No, because I don't use it. But
No, I mean like when I was a kid.
I don't know if either of you guys are old enough to remember Beta, but
No, Beta what?
yeah, you don't know. It's okay. Our older listeners are
Sorry.
laughing at you right now.
I only deal with alphas, so.
So, anyways,
compliment.
Yeah, it was.
I'll take it.
Okay, all right, now go on.
But the people that I sell to at the market and at restaurants, the look on their face when I open the bin up and they see what's in it, and they're like, whoa. Just the looks of the freshness, and
It's hard to describe on a podcast
it's hard
what
to
they're
describe
seeing.
on a podcast.
Your greens are greener.
They're greener. You can tell they're cut very, like, at most like maybe 3 days before I can get them to the restaurant or the market. They taste better. Grown in the soil is something that makes a big difference as opposed to aquaponics or hydroponics.
Oh.
Flavor wise, especially when it comes to tomato season.
Probably some
Nutritional benefits, yeah, definitely.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't even think of that. I just figured they put in the water, whatever was supposed to be in there for the hydroponics.
Well, they do. They put in all the nutrients that it needs, but there's a lot of things working in the soil, such as microbial life and just being exposed to I think the iron in the soil has a little bit to do with it as well. Iron is what gives soil that red color. I think that has a lot to do with it.
With flavoring and stuff? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think just the soil has a lot more to offer when it comes to a better tasting vegetable.
Okay. I mean, sounds
So what you're
legit.
saying is there's a reason that we find tomatoes on the ground and not in a lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got like the biggest smile on his face right now, you guys, thinking about tomatoes floating on the water.
Okay, so
It's lake season.
you've given your sales pitch. You've told us a little bit about how you got into where you're going. Let's hear about.
He did get Kentucky Proud certified.
Yes.
Let's hear about where you're going forward from here. What are some what's something that you're looking forward to, or something that you're building up to, something our listeners can know about ahead of time.
So obviously I'm going to expand the amount of area under cultivation. I'm going to continue working with more, and we might start growing things outside of the fenced-in area.
So does that mean you're going to need other people to work with you?
Yeah. We'll take on other people that want to become involved, definitely.
You want to partner with someone, or are you thinking about you're going to hire someone or to help
For
you
more?
expand? Yeah.
For more, we'd probably partner with them is the way I would understand it. We would have industry partners.
Okay.
Which is what I am. And we have a few people now that are kind of the brains of the operation, but we're willing to take other people's input.
You are saying more as in more high school.
More high school.
I thought you were saying more as in like more dirt that you're going to be farming. So
That was the first point
I
I
was
made.
thinking, oh, okay. We were talking about the school thing.
Yeah, so both. But yes, I'll be cultivating more ground. I'm hoping to hire someone probably this year once I start harvesting tomatoes and squash. That's going to be a lot of work there, because my squash are out in Oldham County, which is about a 25-minute drive from the farm that I'm growing most of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
sounds like you're gonna have to be in 2 places at once sometimes.
basically, yeah, basically. And the weeds don't stop, so
They don't, do they?
They are the best growing plants, aren't they?
No.
you just can't stop them. It doesn't matter what you do.
Man.
So, and then eventually I'd like to buy my own farm and something that's relatively flat and fertile and has some water on it already.
Yeah.
And then,
So do you see yourself doing what you're doing now for yourself for the rest of your life? Or is this like, do you intend on it changing in 5 years from now and looking different at all?
not in
Are they
5
gonna get
years.
to clothed greens?
You gonna dress your greens
I do dress my greens.
in bow ties? What do you dress them in?
Vinaigrette.
Vinaigrette.
typically.
Okay. He was talking about chickens earlier. I was like, and showing them at the state fair. I was like, do you put bows on them?
Yeah, that's my slogan, actually. Dress them yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So,
I like it. I like it.
Not in 5 years. I don't think that it'll be any different.
Okay.
But in terms of what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, and how I'm doing it might change a little bit. But
As you perfect your process.
as I
and
perfect the
how your
process
CSA
and get a little
works.
more equipment and how
Takes
this,
opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Maybe increase your partnership with more high school
Yes.
if that works out or whatever.
Right. Yeah, as far as the rest of my life doing it, I don't know. Right now, I think yes, but
You're
we'll
happy
see.
with it.
Yeah,
And
I'm happy.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Just make it better
Exactly.
and
Just
bigger
Right.
with more compost on it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It'll take more 5 years for him to get a mountain.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. That sounds really good. And then, since I tried to bring it up earlier and I was talking over top of Richard, how did you get Kentucky Proud certified? What was that about for you?
Kentucky Proud Certified is just certification making sure that you are growing and selling and doing business in Kentucky.
Does that let you sell in certain places you wouldn't be able to otherwise?
Not necessarily, at least not that I'm aware of, but it is something that is used as a marketing tool for when I sell to restaurants. They like to put that on their Instagram or whatever to let people know that this is a local dish that they prepared from a local farmer who is Kentucky Proud.
Yeah. It gives you credibility.
Exactly. It gives you credibility. And
Are you glad you went to the trouble of doing
yeah,
it?
it's
okay.
it's free. You just go
Yeah.
online and
Okay.
put in your business information, and then they check that, back check that with the Secretary of State, and
Cool.
I assume the Secretary of State, and then they send you your certification.
Sweet. All right.
He's legit, y'all.
Super legit. All
Yes.
right. Well, that sounds great. I really appreciate you taking the time out to come and see us and tell us your story and what you've got going on here in the city. And where can people buy your produce from you? Like, which markets are you at and when are those?
So they can buy from me at Jeffersontown Farmers Market Saturday morning from 8 to 12:30. They can buy Rainbow Blossom Farmers Market in St. Matthews from 12 to 4. They can go to
What day was that?
Sunday.
On Sunday, 12
Sunday
to 4?
afternoon, 12 to 4. They can go to Logan Street Market, which is on Logan Street. And that's, they have a little bodega in there that sells my produce.
Is that 5 days a week or 7 days a week? Or
I think Logan Street's open 7
okay.
7 days a week, yeah.
All right.
And other than that, if they would like to try some of my produce, they can go eat at Corner Cafe
Okay.
in Linden. They can go to Village Anchor in Anchorage. They can go to Bricks Wine Bar and Bistro, also in Anchorage. They can go to Game, which is over on Lexington Road, over right off Grinstead. And currently that's about it.
You're giving me great excuses to go all of those places. I still haven't taken Richard to Village Anchor. I need to do that.
Yeah,
everything
need to go.
they have there, including their candied bacon, is out of this world. So we're gonna have to do that.
They're getting a bunch of spinach.
And their greens.
We got to get their spinach, I guess, which is going to be
week
Rob's
is
spinach.
Going to be my spinach. So, yeah, you'll have to go try it.
See how they dressed your naked greens.
See how they're dressing the naked greens.
All right.
All right.
We're going to do it. All right, and they can follow you on Facebook at Naked Greens, correct?
Naked Greens Farm.
Naked Greens
and
Farm.
And then Instagram at naked_greens.
Yes. There are others, but his is at naked_greens. Yes.
Just be careful Google searching him.
Richard has never done that. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's okay. This was fantastic. And yeah, follow him on Instagram and Facebook for updates. And we will see you in the next one. Follow the Lou Review on Facebook and at Lou Food Reviews on Instagram. We will be doing giveaways, so check back frequently. And we'll see you later. Bye.